So we're talking about a superhero movie team-up that has a horned villain who's after a magic cube to take over the world, an alien army. We are, of course, talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, Justice League.
Nice.
Hi, everybody. I'm Richard, and this is my guest today.
I'm Justin.
Yep. And we're talking about Justice League, the latest installment in the DC, we can't call it EU because that's apparently not what they call it, just franchise. This is following Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, and the only good one, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not like the biggest fan of these movies, but I can definitely say Wonder Woman is the best of all of them.
Yeah, that's not saying much because the other ones are garbage. Well, my Man of Steel is okay, but Batman v Superman is a train wreck, and Suicide Squad is. But anyway, let's talk about Justice League. That's what you're all here to hear us talk about. Justin, you're not a comic book fan.
Well,
I am a comic book fan. That's why we're doing this
I'm
today.
a fan of art, Richard. I'm a fan of art, and that includes comic books, but
art in quotes.
But I only look at the pictures.
Yeah, it's like, what are these word bubbles? I showed you like part of Batman v Superman before we went to the theater.
Yeah.
So that might have just put you in a bad mood anyway. But
yeah, we flipped through. I was really unhappy with the color grade in that film. It just made me mad a little bit.
a lot of things about that movie made people mad. I think color grade is a reasonable one. But what were your thoughts on Justice League?
It's a movie.
It's a movie. That's going to be on the poster.
I mean,
Justice League, pull quote. Deep Blu-ray box set. It's a movie.
I don't know, man. It was like very middle of the road for me.
Yeah?
I mean, the first half of the film, kind of a mess. Second half of the film, still a mess, but like still with a little bit more composure about itself. And I heard that they had done a lot of reshoots, and I'm not like it's super hard to tell what they reshot because the entire thing just feels just like a jumbled mess of shots.
Yeah.
To me.
I mean, I went in with very like low expectations just because I had been burned so many times before. But I'd say overall I liked the movie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd say I acknowledge it has faults, and we're gonna get to those faults soon. But I can feel like the positives sort of outweigh like the negatives for me. And yeah, it was reshot extensively because Zack Snyder, the director, had a family tragedy. So he had to step away from the project, and then Joss Whedon came aboard to like reshoot and rewrite some scenes, which put them, over budget, over schedule. They had to CGI out Henry Cavill's mustache, which
What a mistake.
it's just one of those things. It's like, can you imagine like looking at the production budget for Justice League and find out that like $10 million went into mustache removal?
Just insane.
But yeah, and it's a weird thing because like Justice League, they went into production before Batman v Superman came out, and they probably thought they were going in like everyone's gonna love Batman v Superman. Nobody liked Batman v Superman except a very angry minority on the internet. They liked it, and so they had to rewrite Justice League as they were filming it the first time, and then they had to rewrite it again pretty much when Snyder left, and it felt like they had planned it. They originally planned it for 2 movies, and you can tell that they had planned it for 2 movies. Because probably the worst part about this movie is the villain, who is a setup for the sequel's villain that they're not going to do.
Yeah, I mean, Steppenwolf is such a like one-dimensional, just such a weird, flat villain to me.
Yeah, and flat literally because like he doesn't look like he's fully there. Like he just looks like someone drew him on the screen.
Yeah, his CG was super ugly.
His CG is like Mummy Returns 2001 bad. Like
Yeah.
and that's the thing. It's like it's not just that he's one note. Like he does nothing. He means nothing in the whole grand scheme of that movie.
Yeah.
Like even the Marvel villains, which are kind of criticized for being kind of one note, they sort of serve the function of their plot. They at least have a presence in the movie. But Steppenwolf, I almost forgot he was in the movie at times. I was like, oh, we haven't heard from him. Oh, that's right, this guy's our bad guy. And I'm just like, you're gonna do the Justice League movie, like the big all stars of the DC universe, and they have some of the best villains, and this is the guy you choose. Like I know the comics, and I even had to Google this like Steppenwolf, like, and he's like Darkseid's uncle, or I don't know what his relation to the Darkseid is in this movie, because he says again, he's supposed to set up for Darkseid, but I think they cut all that out. And he says like one line like for Darkseid, and I'm just like, we're just gonna ignore this completely, aren't we?
I have to say it's really nice to hear you like on this, because I was expecting like because you've read all the well, not like all of them, but because you've like read the comics and you have a connection to this, I was really expecting like this whole backstory to come out, and for you to say that it's like, I don't even know this guy.
Well, because I like the comics. Like again, I hate that argument. It's like, oh, it's if you get it, if you're a fan, you get it. Because I'm a fan and I don't that doesn't mean I like it automatically.
Yeah.
It has to work as an adaptation. And the parts I like about the movie, we're gonna get to those because there are a lot of things I like. But I will acknowledge that Steppenwolf is a lame villain, and that's the sad thing is that DC's movie villains have been, for the most part, they've been pretty good, even when they're like bad. They're bad, but they're like memorably bad. Like they leave an impression. like Leto's Joker does nothing in his movie, but it's like I remember being angry at him.
Yeah.
I don't remember Steppenwolf enough to have a feeling about him. He's just there to cause them stuff.
And I do feel like we're getting to that point with these comic book movies where we're past the part where we're doing all of the origin stories and we're doing all of the beginnings, and we're getting into the weird stuff where eventually we're gonna have 7 Thors on the same screen at the same time, and it's gonna get really weird.
So I think the movie has issues, but for me, I'm willing to look past those issues because mainly they just boil down to Steppenwolf sucks as a villain. The CGI is shoddy in parts. And the editing is a little questionable, but it looks like they're trying to reduce a 2-hour, 30-minute movie down to 2 hours, and then they're trying to reduce what was supposed to be a 2-part movie into a single story. But the parts that work for me and the parts that save the movie and that make me actually really like the movie, the more I think about it, the more I enjoyed it, are the characters and the actors.
Yeah.
Because, let's start out with probably the one who's the standout, who kind of steals the show, and that's Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Yes.
Because that kid was dope. He was awesome.
I mean, we were all talking about it right after, but it's really nice to see a representation of somebody who is maybe a little bit on the spectrum, and have them be just this really awkward but wonderful character for this kind of a movie.
And it kind of makes him pop a little bit more, because it's I know a lot of people were upset that they didn't get the guy from the kid from the Flash, Grant Gustin, but it's I kind of like this version better just because he's a little bit more. I like that he's younger. He's a bit more optimistic. He's got a bit more of a personality, and he's just really funny. And he acts as the audience, kind of POV surrogate. He's almost the audience fanboy. He acts about superheroes the way the audience would react. When he sees the Batcave or Batman, he acts like a person would.
He's the only relatable character for people to latch onto, I think.
And he gets some of the funniest moments. I love the idea that he's actually never fought somebody before. That he's actually just that this is sort of his origin story. This is him becoming the Flash. And I even noticed that no one calls him the Flash ever in the movie. They just call him Barry. So it's almost this is his Flash moment.
Batman shows up and he's like, what are you? Like,
Throw a batarang at you.
What is this?
Hopefully this doesn't kill you.
Let's go for a ride.
Let's go for a ride because I'm rich. I like the relationship he had with Batman, and I think we're going to talk about like Ben Affleck as Batman. This is, I think, the first time I've liked Batman in a long time because it's a total 180 from him in Batman v Superman, where he's dark and depressed and pissed off and murdering people, and he's just got a scowl the whole time. Like, Ben Affleck is good at playing relaxed, cool, funny guys, and here I like that he's a more warm Batman. He's a more welcome. He's almost more of a mentor role, and he's going to be part of a team. It's like he realizes that he's not, but he's got to kind of cheer up. He's got to get together.
Yeah, I think of the few things that this film does like really, really well, the team dynamics is like off the charts. Like, that's where this movie really shines, is when everybody's in the same place, and I feel like they're taking that more humorous tone that a lot of these actors do really, really well.
Oh yeah, and then talk about Gal Gadot as
Gal Gadot, wonderful as ever.
Yeah,
of course.
Wonderful. Oh, I see what you did there.
Hey.
But
for me, there was one thing that really stuck out, and it was, and you might think this is stupid, but for me,
you're right. I do think it's stupid.
You already think it's stupid. The way that they introduce all the characters, especially Wonder Woman in this, just feels very forced. I feel like we're at a point with superhero movies where we should just be able to like jump into it without like this whole introduction. But when Wonder Woman shows up, it's like this like grand entrance kind of thing where she's like looking out over the city and whoa, it's like
she's the only one with a successful movie, so she's gonna get the big entrance.
Yeah, it's true.
She like bursts through the door to remind the audience, like, remember how awesome I am.
But that bugged me because everybody else was like so normal, and that one in particular was just like, ugh.
It feels like they added a few more Wonder Woman scenes because they realized how much people liked her.
Yeah.
And like, which I was glad that they did. And I like the kind of dynamic she has with like just Batman and the team, that she's, she doesn't want to be a part of the team, but she also does, and she kind of acts as like, what should be the leader. Like, let's be real here. Of all the people on that team, Wonder Woman should be the leader because she has the most experience. She's arguably the strongest until a particular character comes back.
She has a lasso of truth.
A lasso of truth.
That's like the best leader tool ever.
It's true. Like, what are your opinion? What are your thoughts? Just lasso him and be like, oh, that's great. And then there's Jason Momoa as Aquaman, or as I like to call him, Broana.
Bro.
Because
very fitting.
Half of his dialogue is "my man" and "oh yeah," and "yeah."
I love that character though. Like, for somebody who hasn't like followed comics or anything, that was a really interesting character, and I have no idea if he's like in the comics, but I feel like this is a really fresh character.
Yeah, like Aquaman. Like I'm a pretty big Aquaman fan, and that's like something that maybe 5 people on the planet can say. But it was not the Aquaman I would have wanted, but I like this interpretation because it is different, and I feel like he does stand out amongst other superheroes, and it does make sense to cast like a Polynesian actor as an aquatic superhero because it's so tied to their culture. And plus, the dude looks great with a shirt off. Like, let's be real here, y'all. Like, why is Blake Shelton people's sexiest man alive? Like, when Jason Momoa took his shirt off, you could hear all the air leave the audience, like, and I was like, yep, I see it. And then there's Ray Fisher as Cyborg. Cyborg doesn't get as much to do in this one. Like,
no, but I mean, another really interesting like origin. Him and the Flash are the ones you kind of can latch on to because it's like they're the newest ones, and it was really cool for me to see a character that is like the way that he ties in with the villains. Yeah. Where he's like part of this box, that the mother box.
Apocalyptian.
Was kind of neat, and it was like you never knew who was going to kind of be on the other side at any given moment, especially with Superman being the way that he was.
I mean, I was gonna, before we talk about Superman, I was gonna be like, Ray Fisher I think has a good on-screen presence, and I look forward to seeing more of Cyborg. I mean, this one was, he's just kind of there, but he's still enjoyable. But yeah, Superman. Don't comment about spoilers. You knew he was in this. Don't give me that nonsense. And I want to be okay because I love Superman. He's my favorite. He's my favorite superhero. Wearing the shirt representing my boy, and I have waited for a good Superman movie. It feels like for like ever because I enjoy Man of Steel, but I acknowledge it has a lot of issues. And I think a lot of the issues that have stemmed from Man of Steel and Batman v Superman is that they haven't done Superman correctly. I mean, they already kind of had to ruin perfection because Henry Cavill's wears like a CGI face throughout half the movie because they're covering up that mustache he has, the super stash.
Just left a bad taste in my mouth.
I mean, I know why they did it. Obviously, you can't have Superman with a mustache, but I kind of want to see what it would look like. Because, like, it would probably be like it almost looks like the porno version of Justice League.
Wait, so you're not okay with a mullet? You're all right with
I'd rather have a mustache Superman than a mullet Superman. I will take that. Because Henry Cavill looks good with facial hair. Let's be real here. But yeah, Henry Cavill I liked. And those are pretty much like the main cast. Like, the rest of the cast is... You have like little characters from their worlds, which I liked. The movie does really good at like world building. It shows you different corners of the DC universe because you see Atlantis for a little bit, you see Barry's hometown, you see Gotham, you see Metropolis, you see Smallville.
I don't know. Like the characters themselves are what you're there for, but if you're not tied to those characters, it doesn't really do a great job of like bringing you into any of it.
Yeah.
Which, like, if you look at a movie like The Avengers, I feel like they do a better job of, like...
With that one comment, you just sent our entire, like, it's the comment section to hell. Every DC fan's gonna be so pissed. Like, why do you have to compare it to Marvel? It's not Marvel!
You have to. You have to. I'm not... I mean, I just feel like they're too similar, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much said how they're similar, at least in plot. Which I don't mind that. Again, a simple plot doesn't bother me. Because you can use a simple plot to like delve deeper into the characters. Which I kind of wish this movie did a little bit more. It feels like there could have been more room for growth. But as far as character interactions go, I was happy with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, as a film, I have to say this was a little disappointing. Like, while it was really fun, and the things that it does well are the action scenes, which were like really awesome. There's not a single action scene that they didn't just like kill. They did it perfect. I feel like for every single character, it felt different.
Yeah.
And they really highlighted their skills, a lot of which they haven't even really done to that extent in their own movies. Yeah. Like Wonder Woman was like all over the place. Just like blocking stuff and doing her whole skill set is in that movie. And I feel like it's the same way for every single character, where like Batman had his big old thing, his like tank thing.
Which is almost like the same thing he has in Lego Batman. Like Lego Batman was making fun of Batman having those ridiculously sized things, and Justice League was like, we're gonna do that but for real.
But I feel like all the characters were represented really well, and the action scenes were awesome, and that all the characters, when they come together as a whole, are just like really, really fun to see on screen together. But overall, for me, because the story itself was just like super, super lame. I think it was really lame. Steppenwolf in the boxes, the mother boxes, to me, just didn't really hold up, and it didn't really. It was supposed to carry the movie, and it didn't. And for me, it was just kind of a letdown. I'm
just really happy that now my friends know what mother boxes are, so I don't sound like an idiot every time I say it. Yeah, for me, it's, you know, like I said earlier, it's got its issues. Like I said, visual effects and Steppenwolf being a bad villain are my biggest ones. And like I said, the choppy editing in the beginning picks up a lot better in the second act, which is weird. I don't think there's a movie where I think the second act is the best act. But the third act ends kind of quickly. It's still entertaining, but the second act was my favorite. But yeah, I think the movie shines because the characters are all well established. They have good interaction with each other. I think the actors bring a lot of great chemistry in their performance. And I loved like the DC world building. It felt like they were doing it right and wasn't like kind of a mess like some of the other films had. And the ending, I think, left me leaving the theater with this real great optimism, because it's almost like to see these different corners of the DC universe now in this sort of more hopeful, optimistic, which is what DC is. DC was always the sunnier side of superheroes. And to see this like bright future going forward, I'm really excited. And Justice League to me almost plays like a Saturday morning cartoon in live action. Like if you can put yourself in that mindset of like a kid going to the movies, like I can imagine every 8-year-old is gonna love this movie. It's gonna be awesome for them. And I was able to kind of like put my mind in that place. I know it's not great by any definition, but I had fun with the movie, and I hate saying the word I had fun because that means literally nothing in film critique. Like that's the most useless thing I could say. But it was like I cheered. I got my moments. Superman, Aquaman, Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Cyborg. I'm living in a time where I get to say I saw all 6 of them on a movie, and that
is pretty awesome.
So for me, I'm gonna give it a seal of approval. I'm gonna say see it. What about you?
Man, we say the same things about this movie, but I'm gonna say it's not probably worth it. Even though we're saying the same things, to me, I feel like it just, as somebody who is not actually a real comic book fan,
I mean, no one.
I have to say, even though we say the same things, I would not recommend it.
All right. So, guys, now you have your fair and balanced review of Justice League. But let us know what you think. Make sure to comment below. Give us your thoughts. And remember to click that subscribe button. Check out our other videos. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And stay tuned for next time. We got more movies coming this year. Keep an eye out for Star Wars, y'all. And subscribe. Peace.
Peace.
Hope. It's like a river. It just runs through.
Love. Like a fire. Burning.
Say that. It's like the same thing, pretty much. I don't know. Like, that was just like, oh, okay. It's a little basic.
I didn't mind that because
But for a guy who hasn't ever had an arc,